Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I would bring you a in-depth look at how I use my slice tool or my scalpel to create highlights within my wildlife drawings. So I've previously done a review of this specific tool. This is the slice variety with the ceramic blade. I've still got the original one on here with the slight rounded end there. But I just wanted to show you exactly how I would use this on a piece that is in progress. So at the moment I'm working on this lion, this male lion, and I've been using the scalpel just to pull out a few highlights and to create this kind of really fluffy, wild texture of the mane. And this tool has been really handy at helping me to create this kind of texture. So all I do is just uncap the tool like I have here, so you've got it ready to use. What I like to do is work either directly with the blade down like this, or I like to sort of turn it on the side and use it sort of backwards. So when I am creating highlights in fur like this, I tend to follow the fur direction. So this particular area is sort of sweeping up. I follow the direction, and I also work backwards into the fur direction as well. I just find that that gives a really nice sort of natural look. So what I will do is just work really lightly onto my drawing and just work swiftly and quickly in the direction of the fur or the type of sort of highlight that I'm trying to pull out. So I'm just going to do that with a few of these. So real quickly, wipe off the excess and just pull out some highlights. I like to create some going in slightly different directions to the fur direction. It just gives it a sort of more natural look, especially for this kind of fur that I'm trying to recreate here. So I also like to just position my arm so it comes around, so I can just get a better sort of grip and scrape away. You can see it's creating some really nice highlights. Not using much pressure at all when I'm doing this either. Picking out a few, just looking at the reference photo and just picking out lots of fine lines. So you'll notice that this particular lion that I'm working on has different clumps of fur, and I like to just feather out the clumps over the darker areas like this one here. Just bring my slice tool and just work out some lighter sort of highlighted fur lines just coming over these darker areas, so it looks like it's sitting over the top, and just blend it a little bit more. So just use it really lightly and just pick out all of these really subtle highlights, just working over bit by bit. And you can create a really kind of more curlier texture just by creating some highlights and just pulling out some of the coloured pencil in close proximity to one another and just creating almost like C shapes. So you can see the kind of texture that it's building already. And we're getting close to the texture that I want to try and create, so I'm just going to create some more sort of really curved lines, and the slice tool makes it really easy to do this. And all of these really fine white lines look as if they're sitting on top, so I'm just going to work backwards into some of the fur now. I'm just using the blade upside down. Like so. So the only thing that really sort of puts me off of using this method is the sound on the paper. Some people really like the sound of scraping like this, but for me it's a big no-no. So I'll try and do this as little and as infrequently as possible, but it does give a really nice texture. As you can see, it's just created a load of fine white lines over my lion here and just created that really fluffy texture, which has just added a whole nother element to this. And it was just really easy to do this as well. If I was to go in and use a white pencil, it would be really difficult to pull out those highlights, especially over these darker areas. But when using the slice tool or a scalpel, it doesn't have to be this particular brand, but if you're just using a scalpel, it's just really easy, really effortless method to do this. Now you do have to be careful that you don't exert too much pressure, especially if you're using a metal blade and that you end up slicing your paper. So it's a good idea to have a little practice on a scrap piece of paper before you go into a main piece like this one here. What you want to avoid doing is making any sort of cutting motions, going straight down and using the blade sort of flat to your surface. That's just going to cut up your paper. You don't want that to happen at all. You just want to gently work in the opposite direction of the blade. So as you saw, I was using my blade in this direction, which is the opposite direction of the blade. So the blade is going sort of vertically and I'm working horizontally, so you want to work against the direction of the blade to eliminate cutting your paper as much as possible. So as I said, it's just a really simple method at pulling out highlights. So perhaps you wanted to pull out whiskers, or like I've done here, you've got some really fine wispy lines sitting over your coloured pencil work, whether that be your lighter colours or your darker colours. Using a scalpel is just going to enable you to just add in those highlights really easily. It's a good method alternative to using a negative space method. So if you do have these whiskers, some people just like to outline them and leave them blank and then go in and shade them afterwards. Well, with the scalpel you could just add down your coloured pencil, so you don't have to worry about leaving that negative space, and then you can pull it out afterwards and you can create some really nice opaque white lines with this, especially over your darker areas as you've seen as I've just gone around here. So that's pretty much it for this little tool. If you fancy purchasing one of these particular slice ones for yourself, then I'll leave a link in the description for you. You can also purchase other things that aren't necessarily the slice tool itself. I used to use a Swan Morton handle and blade, and I'll also leave a link to that in the description below, so you can choose which one you want to try out first. The Swan Morton one is a little bit cheaper, but the slice does last a lot longer due to its ceramic blade. I really hope that you found this little video useful, just a little bit more of an in-depth look at how I use this technique when working on an actual piece. I know I've just sort of explained the pros and cons of using a blade like this in my review, but I wanted to show you guys exactly how I use it and how I use it to create a texture on a wildlife portrait. There will be a full tutorial coming very soon to you guys of this lion, so if you fancy learning about how I created this so far, then that will be available in the next 2 weeks for you guys. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, tick that bell icon so you don't miss that, because this is a lovely piece to work on and I really want you guys to benefit from learning on how I've done this so far. If you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up with that button below. And as I said, if you're new here and you want to see more of my coloured pencil tips, techniques and tutorials, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!